There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world. And that's why your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli, is on the trail of a Nephilim. The Genesis 6 narrative states that the Nephilim are on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If that's true, can we find evidence that corroborates this? I'm L.A. Marzulli. Join me as we go on the trail of a Nephilim. The title of this show is What We Discovered Changes Everything. And folks, it absolutely does. Guess what I'll be talking about today? Right here. The mysterious and enigmatic Chongos elongated skull. And what we discovered there does change everything. We'll get into that and so much more, but first, a word from our trusted sponsor. There's no denying it. Gold is hot right now. Prices are soaring, and experts are predicting even more to come. Not so long ago, gold reached its all-time high of $2,069 an ounce. And now, it's inching ever closer to that number again. Bank of America, one of the largest banks in the world, is saying gold will rise further to well over $2,200 an ounce later this year. So, what is the truth? Well, folks, gold is already a safety net for your hard-earned money. And now, when the stock market is all over the place and the value of the dollar is uncertain, being safe really counts like never before. Noble Gold is offering a 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin for any qualified IRA or old 401k rollover. Terms apply. A solid silver U.S. Mint issued coin celebrating our national parks, free with every qualifying precious metal IRA or 401k rollover. Folks, you can't go wrong with Noble Gold. We've done it, and I'm tickled pink that we did. We brought in almost a year ago, and boy, am I happy. 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347 or noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. And do me a favor, tell them L.A. Marzulli sent you. So what I want to get into today is the discovery, specifically the Chongos skull, the very elongated, enigmatic skull that we find at the ICA Museum in Peru. And this skull came from the Chongos necropolis. Brian Forrester took us there years ago, and it was incredible. And I just want to thank Brian for helping us get that DNA. It took us 3 years to get the proper permits. Hats off to Mondo Gonzalez. This is pre-Prophecy Watchers days. Mondo and I flew down to Peru numerous times. Chase Klotsky tagged and bagged all of our DNA samples. Richard Shaw was our videographer and director of the film. And all that can be seen on number 6 in our ongoing film series, On the Trail of a Nephilim. It's on DNA. But I digress as usual. So we're in the ICA Museum, and all these skulls are coming out, and Mondo and I are dressed in lab suits, and we would take the DNA sampling, and then from that we would go out and completely change out of that suit, throw that suit away, don a new lab suit, blow each other off with compressed air, walk in and take new samples. So I asked the archaeologist, and I won't mention the gentleman's name because I don't want to embarrass him, but this guy was part of the ICA Museum. And I said, is there any possibility of us seeing the enigmatic Chongos skull? Can you take it out of the case? We don't want DNA samples, although I would love to. Can you just roll it over? We wanted to see where the foramen magnum was. Now, the position of the foramen magnum is this. I'll just use this for an example so you guys can see it. And this you can see right here, right there. It's all the way pushed back to the occipital plate. In fact, I'm going to push in here so you guys can really get a good look at it. So the foramen magnum is like right here. It should be here. So you can see the position of the foramen magnum is pushed all the way back to the occipital plate, the rear plate. And as I stated, it should be definitely much more forward in the skull. You can't cradle headboard that skull. You can't cradle headboard the skull or bind the skull, cradle headboarding, cranial deformation, and move the foramen magnum. As Dr. Michael Aldi says in our film, that's created in utero. It's in the uterus. And that position of the foramen magnum in the center of a skull balances the skull. If it's pushed all the way to the back, now what? And we get into this in the film. So the story is this. I asked the archaeologist, can we see it? And the archaeologist says, yes, you can. And so guess what? We went in to the museum and there was no one there. The museum was shut down because we were taking DNA. And they roll the display case out and I'm sitting there, I can't even believe this is happening. Because what? 4 or 5 years earlier, we were there and seeing the Chongos skull for the first time. Now we have permission to take it out of a skull. And this woman went in, took the skull, and the rest is history. It changes everything. Here's the clip, and I'll weigh in on it on the other side.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay,
So you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, thank you.
Please. You want to?
Here.
Pues.
Okay.
Wow. I want to shoot it outside of the glass.
Yeah, I want to see it.
And we are at the Inca Museum, and we are holding a very, very large elongated skull known as the Chongos skull. This is the one which has gone viral on the internet, and we will be given unprecedented access to this artifact. And one of the things we're very interested in seeing is where the placement of the foramen magnum is on this particular specimen.
Can we ask her to turn it upside down?
Are you ready to take a picture?
Yeah.
I'm filming.
Okay. Upside down.
Wow. This thing is massive.
It really is.
Podemos ver.
Oh my God, it's right in the back. Look at that, it's right in the back.
Why don't you come over this way?
Come over this
It's
way.
like right on the occipital plate. So here we are, and we are now looking at where the foramen magnum, which obviously is right there, and it's directly right next to the occipital plate, which once again, a normal human being, this foramen magnum would be in here somewhere. Armando, do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I see. It's interesting too. Maybe we can get another angle. Are you ready, Rick, to change the angle?
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Just kind of like this.
working on the chroma just a little.
Because I want to put my finger in here. I want you to see just what the spine would look like based on.
Yeah, I mean, that's all wrong.
You just see how straight that is and how where it would be.
Wow.
I think this is so. The normal human skull is probably about right there.
Yeah, it's very, very large. It also makes us wonder about the cranial capacity. I mean, this is so large in here that would this particular entity have more brain power than a normal human being? And of course, we don't have answers to that.
Wow. Incredible. I'd like to get some high-resolution stills if I could.
So what happens here? It changes everything because that occipital plate is pushed. If it's any further back, it's outside the skull. Why that changes everything? Because the academics, the archaeological community, refuse to look at this because it changes everything. If it's genetic, then it changes everything, because their whole theory of cranial deformation, cradle headboarding, goes right out the window. And they can't part with that. What is the truth? Why is it that so many of these skulls that we've seen, looked at, photographed on DNA samples, that foramen magnum is pushed all the way to the rear plate, to the occipital plate? In the Chongos skull, if it's any further back, then it's outside the occipital plate, it's outside the skull. So we're looking, and you know what? In our film, we have archaeologists, anthropologists, medical doctors, surgeons, optometrists, chiropractors, multidisciplinary team of people come on the record, stare at the camera, and say, whatever this is, it is genetic. So for the skeptic out there, and there's one guy in particular, I won't mention his name, who just poo-poos all this and results in resorts in ad hominem attacks. You can do whatever you want to do, or discrediting people's credations or whatever. So that person can do whatever they want to do. But isn't it interesting that they never, ever tell us how that foramen magnum and why that foramen magnum in the Chongos skull is pushed so far back? If it's any further, if it's back any further, it's outside the skull. That can't happen. It changes everything. This information changes everything, along with our DNA film. Folks, if you're interested, you can go to lamarzulli.net, lamarzulli.net. I hope you will. But if you want instant gratification, go to our streaming site, streaming at lamarzulli.net, streaming.lamarzulli.net. By the way, changing gears here, June 9th and 10th, it's coming up, a little before you know it. I will be at Riverbend Calvary Chapel in Missouri. So June 9th and 10th, I'll be speaking on Friday night, and then Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, there will be 4 different presentations. I'm not doing the same presentation over and over again, 3 or 4 different times. We'll start, the plane will take off very gently, all right? Very smooth, very gently. It's all about the seed war and the coming great deception. So I'm going to start very slow with Genesis 3:15, just like I did down in Jupiter, Florida, a few weeks back. Anyway, folks, that's it. Check us out, lamarzulli.net. Please hit the subscribe button and tell folks that you've actually seen something that does, in my opinion, change everything. Thanks so much for watching.